Apple just dropped the M4 Max and M3 Ultra refresh for the Mac Studio. But here's the thing, most people do not need the M3 Ultra chip. In fact, Apple completely skipped the M4 Ultra release, and instead we still have the M3 Ultra option, which is based on a previous generation chip. And yeah, the M3 Ultra is technically faster than the M4 Max in some use cases, but for 99% of people out there, it's an overkill. Unless you're doing some insane machine learning tasks that demand the 512 gigabytes of unified memory that the machine provides. That's why I pre-ordered the M4 Max model, and it's the one I recommend for most people, and here's why. So I personally went with the maxed out M4 Max Mac Studio, and my configuration is the 16-core CPU, 40-core GPU, 128 gigabytes of unified memory, and an 8TB SSD, which retails at $6,000 in the US or £6,000 in the UK. This setup gives me a great balance of power, memory, and storage without overpaying for unnecessary specs like the 16TB SSD. And yeah, I know 8TB is a lot, and I know Apple's pricing for this, but having it internally and just having it for the long run is gonna be the best choice for me, especially because I don't really use a lot of external drives. And now let's break it down by use case. One of the main reasons why I got this Mac Studio specifically is for video editing, since I'm planning to take content creation more seriously, and I'll be shooting a lot of videos externally in Apple ProRes Log on my iPhone 16 Pro, which I'm actually shooting this video on right now. And I'll be editing multiple streams of 4K ProRes footage, and the 40-core GPU in the M4 Max will handle those with ease, because I previously used the M4 Max base model of the MacBook Pro, and it was just a beast in all use cases. Plus, Final Cut Pro and DaVinci Resolve are optimized for Apple Silicon, so I'll get smooth playback and fast rendering regardless of the use case. As an iOS engineer, I constantly have multiple apps running, that's being Xcode simulators, tons of terminal tabs open and Chrome tabs, and that's why 128 gigabytes of unified memory is a must for me, so that it ensures that my workflow stays smooth even when running virtual machines, Docker containers, and other memory-intensive tasks. Another big part of my workflow is also training machine learning models using GPU-accelerated frameworks like TensorFlow and CoreML, which is Apple's machine learning framework to create AI models for iOS development. The M4 GPU cores are crucial here, giving me better performance when integrating AI models into my iOS apps and side projects. And that brings me to local AI and LLMs. One of the biggest reasons I maxed out the 128GB unified memory version is to run large language models locally. I plan on running Llama 3 70B on LM Studio, which is very fast on Mac, and the total amount of RAM gives me a huge advantage when dealing with massive AI models and also running other development workflows in the background. Regarding storage, I got the 8TB internal SSD because I do like having a lot of storage. And honestly, I didn't really have a budget constraint in this use case, so I just went all full on for it. But a huge benefit is that the M4 Max Mac Studio has Thunderbolt 5 ports, so if you have a Thunderbolt 5 storage device or NAS, it is just as fast as the internal SSD. And OWC just released some exciting Thunderbolt 5 drives, like the OWC Envoy Ultra, which is probably what I'm going to be getting to shoot ProRes videos from my Blackmagic Pixie 6K camera or the iPhone 16 Pro. But if you want to save money on internal storage, I'd recommend getting a Thunderbolt 5 or a Thunderbolt 4 NVMe drive, especially the ones from OWC, since I've been using them for a while and they never really let me down. In fact, this is actually an OWC Envoy Mini, which is what I've been using to store most of my drives. This is an 8TB DIY model. So this is an enclosure with a 8TB Samsung drive in it, which I've been using for the past year and it never let me down. So that's my Mac Studio setup, and I'm gonna be getting it in the next couple of weeks, and why I think the M4 Max is the best choice for most creators and power users. If you're into video editing, coding, AI, running LLMs locally, this setup gives you insane performance without spending extra on the specs that you don't need. But if this video helped you out, drop a like, and if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button for more deep dives into Apple tech and creator workflows. See you all in the next one.